It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 10th day of August 2022, coming to you from Central Virginia, Bedford County, a little area called Forest right outside of Lynchburg. Another hot summer day today here. It's going to be up in the mid-90s again. I'm hoping to get out by the pool. Might have some showers coming in, though, this afternoon, unfortunately. The main story today is Royal Caribbean is back in Malaysia. Today, folks, is National Spoil Your Dog Day. Now, I don't have a dog anymore that I can spoil because, but Max the dog, he loved this day. This was definitely his day of the entire year. Max the dog has been gone for a couple of years now. And with all that's happened to me health-wise and then being able to travel again, I don't have the time to devote to a dog, not to mention the emotional attachment. The cats are more attached to Amanda and my sister. So I don't have near the attachment to them that I had to Brat the cat. But today's National Spoil Your Dog Day. So do something along those lines, folks. All right, today, other than the Royal Caribbean being back in Malaysia, this is really a cool day. I got stories all around the globe today. We got some weather reports from both the Atlantic and the Pacific. First time we've talked about weather for a while. Jewel of the Seas alters some cruises. That's over there in Europe. Viking's newest ship's inaugural cruise in Asia. Crew member overboard in Alaska. And a whole lot more live at 11 this morning. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. As always, you can access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from, like Podchaser, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, any of the big guys. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the fat travel guy. So, also, I post pictures and clips quite often, either from my travels or from the travels of one of the members of Chillie's Cruises family. And that happens quite often. So there's always a description in the a link in the description of the podcast to jump over to the video side to check out any pictures or clips that we might be featuring that day. Prime example, my friend Rochelle Salerno is over there in Turkey today, and I've missed out on several of Rochelle's postings lately because it's been just so nuts here. But she's in Kusadasi, Turkey. She called it a beautiful port city on the Aegean Sea in Asia Minor. It was a great cultural experience. Visited the old town Turkish bazaar markets, learned how to make filaments and to hand weave Turkish carpets. Great shopping, cafes, bistros, and a lovely waterfront. This is from Rochelle in Turkey. Lovely. Look at the color of the water. That's just gorgeous. Kusadasi on the side there. There's a good, nice clock tower. I will say this is, Rochelle always finds a church or cathedral, and she didn't. Of course, that's primarily a Muslim country, so there might not be a church or cathedral there. But if there is, she found it. That's a fort, obviously. Unfortunately, it does not look like it would be very accessible having to go up those steps. I have a feeling they don't have an elevator or wheelchair ramps. That would be my best guess. By the way, folks, if you are listening to this Please drop in a comment as to how my audio is today compared to yesterday. The audio, I'm using my phone back as the camera. This audio is going through my phone rather than through the microphone, and see if that's better than yesterday as we keep looking to Kusadasi, Turkey. And this is the part that would have just fascinated me. The making of carpets. And this is a shot in the bazaar. That's just gorgeous stuff. I would have enjoyed riding through that bazaar. I tell you that right now. That would have been one of my stops for sure. Okay. Norwegian, their move yesterday means that cruises on Norwegian, Oceania, and Regent Seven Seas are now open to everyone. No testing if you are vaccinated. 72-hour pre-cruise test if you are not vaccinated. I'm just asking, folks, how do you feel about this? Will this change your thoughts about cruising? Will it change how safe you will likely feel on a cruise ship? Drop an answer either in the chat room or in the comments about going on a cruise knowing that anybody can cruise now. So, just ask you for your thoughts. All right, I'll be back with a look at the weather for a change and today's news right after a word from one of our network sponsors. All right, guys, today, this we have not had for some time, and that is a traditional weather system in the Atlantic. How about that for a change? All right, this is a disturbance that is several hundred miles west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Gradual development of this system is still possible over the next few days. However, environmental conditions are forecast to become less favorable by the weekend. The system expected to move west by west-northwestward at 15 miles an hour. The chance of formation over the next 48 hours or 20%. Over the next 5 days, it moves up to 30%. But this is a system that is following in the traditional hurricane alley. Now, does not mean that it's going to strengthen or anything, but it's the first system that's come off of Africa and heading this way this year, actually. Not so out in the Pacific, where things have been totally different. Howard, you see, there was a hurricane for a brief period, about 24 hours. And it's the 7th hurricane of the season out in the Pacific. They've all been following along the path off the coast of Central and South America, some good distance, and the coast of Western Mexico. Out in the water, it has had little or no effect on land. Yes, it's had some high surf, had some rain, some wind, but not anything like a hurricane going through. But there have been numerous storms, numerous tropical storms, and 7 hurricanes in the Pacific already. Howard has been downgraded to a tropical storm now, and it is expected. Howard is currently a 60-mile-an-hour winds. Pressure is still under 1,000. It's 999, but going up. It's moving west-northwest at about 10 miles an hour. It's expected to weaken further through the day today and just sail off into the sunset. Another one down here to watch, however, and that is showers and thunderstorms associated with a broad area of low pressure located several hundred miles south of the southwestern coast of Mexico, slowly becoming more organized. Chance of development of this over the next 48 hours of formation of possibly a tropical storm is 50%. Over the next 5 days, goes up to 80%. So we're going to have to watch this one. Again, it's probably not going to affect land unless there is some tremendous change in the airflow. It's probably just going to follow right along out off the coast of Central and Mexico and Central America, as the last several have. But those are things that we have to start watching for a change. All right, the main news story today comes from Asia. Royal Caribbean Spectrum of the Seas is back in Malaysia on the back of successful first port calls in Kuala Lumpur and Penang last month. After 2 years of cruises to nowhere, Malaysia's travel and tourism industry is back in business with twice weekly sailings of Spectrum of the Seas from Singapore. Basically, you got 4-night cruises that stop in both ports, Kuala Lumpur and Penang, and then the 3-night cruises stop only in Penang. At both ports, senior dignitaries and state officials witnessed the plaque and key exchanges between Spectrum of the Seas Captain Fleming and the port's senior executive. After months of sailing to nowhere, the Singapore market and both Malaysian ports are the beneficiaries. So that's going good right now. And I know people don't want to think about traveling over there yet, but man, some of those prices are really encouraging. They are some dynamite pricing right now. If you want to go into Asia, and there's all kinds of problems over there, I realize that. There's COVID issues, but still, they're nicely priced. All right. Other news from Royal Caribbean has to do with Jewel of the Seas. Some of its cruises have been altered. Royal Caribbean has been forced to change departure and arrival times to several cruises for Jewel of the Seas sailing from Amsterdam. We've talked about this situation a couple times before. The cruise ship will depart earlier than scheduled and return a day earlier at the end of the voyage. The itinerary changes are due to the extremely low water levels in the North Sea Canal, which connects Amsterdam with the North Sea. Not just Jewel of the Sea that has been forced to make itinerary changes. Rotterdam had to make a bunch last week, and several other ships have, as low water is affecting several cruise ships from the sail away from Amsterdam. Amsterdam can only be reached by sailing through the North Sea Canal. As water levels have reached the lowest point in history, the Dutch authorities have decided to limit the time the locks stay open between the canal and the North Sea. That means that ships are grouped together to sail through the locks, after which they are closed again. The ships are not in a position to, if the ships are not in a position to sail through the locks at the set time, they lose their slots. That could affect subsequent departures, flights, and other travel arrangements for the guests. All this means that Royal Caribbean has been forced to make changes to at least 2 itineraries for Jewel, which has a further 3 sailings from the Dutch capital this year. The August 19th sailing, a 12-night British Isles cruise, and the August 31st sailing, a 9-night Norwegian Fjords cruise, have been altered. The August 19th voyage will not be visiting St. Peter Port Channel Islands, and instead be in Dover, England, a day earlier than scheduled on the 29th. Jewel of the Seas will arrive in Amsterdam on the night of the 30th, where guests can enjoy the Amsterdam nightlife before disembarking on August the 31st. The August the 31st cruise will be sailing earlier than scheduled at 3:30 p.m., so guests must ensure they are in the terminal on time. Jewel of the Seas will also be returning a day early to Amsterdam on September 8th, providing guests with the overnight in Amsterdam, the earlier departure on August the 31st, and the early return do not affect any port calls, as the ship would have been at sea on those days, like on September the 8th, for instance. For the September 9th sailing, that's the next one, Royal Caribbean has not yet made any announcements. All right. Another story from over in Asia has to deal with Viking, and boy, I found out some interesting stuff on this one today. Designed to navigate the Mekong River, the Viking Saigon has begun its inaugural season in Southeast Asia on a 15-day magnificent Mekong itineraries, which sailed from Ho Chi Minh City to several destinations in Cambodia and features 16 guided tours with hotel stays in Hanoi, Siem Reap, and Ho Chi Minh City. Of course, Ho Chi Minh City, that's what Saigon used to be. Viking Saigon is a 3-deck river ship designed to navigate the Mekong River, hosting just 80 guests and 40 outdoor staterooms. It currently sails with inclusive airfare from Vietnam to Cambodia on 15-day cruises, bus tours, overnight stays, and the river cruising. The thing that I found interesting is that this ship, unlike many of the river cruises in Europe, has an elevator that goes to all decks, like the ones that they're going to be building in the States here, which means that accessibility is possible. So I started doing some checking, and yes, Viking River Cruises does have an accessibility statement now, because now there's a possibility of handicapped folks, wheelchair or scooter folks, getting on some of their cruises. Not necessarily this one, folks, because they also recommend that, at least for me, they recommend that a accessible challenged person travel with someone to help them over things like cobblestone streets where they might not be comfortable on a scooter or a power wheelchair, for instance. The Viking recommends that travelers with disability cruise with Viking Rivers along with an adult passenger that can help them maneuver, especially while on walking tours where other older streets are sometimes uneven and made of cobblestone. As each ship has its own design, you'll want to speak with one of the cruise consultants to determine which ships will accommodate your needs. So, guys, if you are mobility challenged but still want to try a river cruise, as I do, here's an opportunity possibly for all of us. So Viking Rivers, some of the ships, now it's not all of them. They're obviously their newer ships are built with this in mind, and they're putting in the elevators. And looking at the ship, this does not seem, one of the drawbacks on European ships was that they were too high to go under bridges. Well, this does not have a elevator shaft that sticks up in the air like has been known on most traditional cruise ships. So they've gotten past that dilemma now. This is opening up a whole new area, folks, for accessible people like myself and Cindy and a few other people that have accessibility issues. Maybe the day is sooner rather than later where we will be able to get on at least some of the river cruises. Now, there's limits on the width. I want to say it's nothing over 22 inches wide is the widest it can be. That would be either a scooter or a power wheelchair. So my fat butt would have trouble doing that. But the other thing that might also be a benefit is apparently these dock singly as opposed to stacked docking like they do in Europe. That was another one of the drawbacks over there, is that sometimes you get on a ship and have to cross the ship, go to the next ship. And so if you're on a scooter or whatnot. The other drawback that I found to it, and again, folks, this is a giant step forward for all of us that are mobility challenged. Not necessarily getting to the point of being great yet, but it's definitely a step forward. You have to travel, at least on this particular one, you have to travel with your scooter or power wheelchair, which many of you guys that are permanently attached to a chair or scooter do anyway. I do not. I usually use wheelchair service at the airports if I'm flying. And when I get to the cruise, wheelchair service to get on the ship. Once I'm on the ship, I've got the scooter full time. I deal with Scootaround. They deliver to all of the ocean ships at most ports at all the ports in the U.S. and some ports now in Europe. They also have the oxygen concentrators. Well, on this particular river cruise ship for Viking, you have to travel with your mobility device, be it a scooter, a power wheelchair, a walker, whatever. And like if you're in my situation with oxygen, you've got to be able to provide your own oxygen needs. They don't have a situation like with Scootaround, at least at this point over there in Singapore. Now, it might come the time as more and more accessibility issues are happening. More and more cruises sail from Singapore that a company like Scootaround or another company that does the same thing might at some time be offering those on these ships. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, to me, that was absolutely terrific news for those of us that are mobility challenged or handicapped. So I'm going to be doing a piece on my blog, I don't know, today or tomorrow, whenever I get it finished written. I've started on it. And the last story today comes from Alaska and is definitely not a good story at all. U.S. Coast Guard has ended the search for a missing 31-year-old man reported to have gone overboard from the MS Koningsdam late Monday night. The ship departed Juneau approximately 10 p.m. local time, and the missing person report was recorded at 10:45 p.m. while the ship was in Gastineau Channel adjacent to Douglas Island. Security personnel on board the vessel reviewed video footage to determine if the man could be located. The U.S. Coast Guard was notified and began a search. Helicopter crew from Air Station Sitka was also enlisted, arriving at the area approximately at 12:40 a.m. Sitka is approximately 90 miles southwest of Juneau. The Koningsdam, as well as sister ship the MS Eurodam, which had also been in port in Juneau on Monday, assisted in the search, scanning the area for several hours before the ships were released to continue on their planned routes. And that was getting well into the morning on Tuesday. Holland America is deeply saddened by the incident, and their thoughts and prayers are with the gentleman's family at this difficult time. They're also offering counseling services to team members and guests who may have been affected by this incident. However, the cruise line did not reveal the nationality or the department the crew member was working aboard. The Coast Guard said the crew of the Eurodam reported hearing shouting from the water and alerted them late on Monday. The Coast Guard announced Tuesday afternoon that it had suspended the search. Coast Guard said that the cause of the incident is now under investigation. The Petty Officer Ian Gray of the Coast Guard said, we searched 38 nautical miles around the area for about 11 hours and decided to call off the search with no results. And of course, our deepest condolences to the crew member's family and his fellow team members. It's a big tragedy for the entire cruising community. A review of the closed-circuit television footage indicated the man most likely went overboard intentionally. So a sad story, 31-year-old man overboard in Alaska. All right, that's going to wrap up the news for today, folks. I'm going to jump over to the chat room and see if anybody is fussing at me. Hot Air Tom is with us. Today is the day. Flight is short. Wait a minute. The flight is shortly before 9 p.m. to Tampa, then the rental car to Cape Canaveral, all in preparation for our next cruise on the 21st. That is definitely not the same day flying. He is making a reference to someone going on the cruise with them that is taking a chance on same day flying. I understand, Hot Air Tom. Jason's with us. Yo, hey, Jason. Nikki's here. Jason's dogs are very spoiled. I know. We all did that. One of the things I liked about Max the dog when he was with me, I had Max the dog for 16 years. Max the dog would absolutely carry on conversations with me. And I mean, I'd talk right back, and we would literally talk back and forth to each other, especially when Max the dog wanted me to change channels on the television. He would get right in my nose and tell me to change the channels. And it was clear he didn't like whatever I was watching. Yeah, I've been known to spoil dogs. Kenneth's with us. Nikki's here. Happy travels, Hot Air. As they say in Germany, Gute Fahrt? No. I'm sure I said that wrong. Sonny's with us down in Mississippi. Hi, Sonny. Jason said audio is fine. Thank you, Jason. Hopefully, the work I did on my computer got that straightened out now. Audio is much better. It was a bit off yesterday. I was running it yesterday through the headset. The audio seems to do much better going through the webcam, which is now the phone. I realized a new phone has a new camera, which is much better than the old one, and a new microphone, which is much better than the old one. So, yeah, I know. And I'm old and crotchety and don't like to spend money. And I finally broke down and got a phone. I mean, what the hell? I went from a flip top, what'd you call it? Flip phones? What would we call those things? I've even forgotten it. Now, actually, I had a smartphone, but it was an old smartphone. It was like one of the first smartphones out, I think, from Samsung. Mike's with us. Hi, Mike. Sonny says, have a good flight, Hot Air Tom. Late flight. What time do you get to the hotel? Jason says, I could care less who cruises as long as they don't bother me. Well, that's a good point. I mean, to a certain degree, I understand that. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of I'm a little more worried about if this is going to cause a major spike in more COVID on ships. And hopefully it won't. I mean, yes, there's COVID on every ship now. We're used to that. We're used to dealing with that. I understand the argument for that. I understand the arguments that people make against vaccines and against masking and all. I mean, I understand the point. I don't agree with it. But I see that side of the argument. I'm concerned that this is going to cause a big spike in COVID on cruise ships. And I hope that you guys can tell me in a couple, well, it's not till the 3rd of September, in the second week of September when I'm on, Symphony of the Seas, how wrong I was. I would love for you to do that. Hot Air says, I would cancel if I could. Not happy at all, but we'll be watching closely to see what happens. It will definitely detract from a good cruise, avoiding groups. Yeah, well, that's another thing. When you're solo and they have solo meetups and stuff, I like to go to those if they're not, at 10 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night. They have them at decent times. And being on a Norwegian cruise, normally they have those kind of meetups at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So solo travelers can meet up. Some of them will get together and go to dinner or other things. Go to the bars and make arrangements to go to the bars or the casinos or, all the kind of things like that. So I don't know. And then it'll be interesting to see if this is going to change masking. Will people wear masks more? The last couple of cruises I've been on, there was like next to nobody in masks. A few, but very few. Hot Air says, I have extra government tests. Should I test Chillie to allow him to visit our cabin? Yeah, you probably should. I have some government tests too that I'm going to have in my suitcase so I can check things out. Although I will have my test will be, 48 hours beforehand. But then I also want to make sure that I test before I get back home, since I'll be coming back to my situation with my sister and my brother-in-law that are older than I am. I don't want to bring it back to them should anything untoward happen. Sonny says, I think to upgrade to a balcony cabin for September cruise so I can spend more time in cabin. I think I need to upgrade. I was thinking about the same thing because I had an offer to upgrade on the hot air Tom cruise that came through. But the problem is because I have to have an accessible cabin, and there's limited numbers of those on this particular ship. And most of the balcony cabins are not wide enough for the scooter, as opposed to like on Symphony, I'm going to be in a junior suite, and the door is wide enough for my scooter. So I didn't have to have an accessible cabin. Yeah, I'll ask my room steward to get me a stool for the shower so I can sit down in the shower. Other than that, I can get by in the bathroom okay. I don't need to have, I can walk enough in my room to get, into the shower and that kind of thing. But I can't stand the length of time to take a shower and wash my hair and do all the things you do in the shower between my knee, my hip, and my back. It ain't going to happen. So, but yeah, that was the first thing I thought of too. Man, it'd be nice to have a balcony on this one. But then, I still do is my running around and stuff, which I can always do masked if necessary, if I'm really uncomfortable. I don't know. I haven't decided yet if I want to try bidding on one and see if they could maybe do some shuffling around. I don't know. I'm thinking about talking to them about that one. Hot Air says, good plan, Sonny. Chillie Cruises, Chillie's Cruises, will it make our cruise a mystery cruise? What? Hot Air Tom, that didn't make sense. Chillie's Cruises, will it make our cruise a mystery cruise? Whatever happened to Elizabeth on location? I just talked to Elizabeth over the weekend. She's just been working like nuts. She's on a Carnival ship, and she has been putting in lots of hours and is busier than she's been in years. She said, I have not had a chance to get out and do anything, just tell everybody I said, hey, I love them. She responded back. I sent her the link on the New York Times piece. She responded back to that. I hadn't heard from her for some time. But no, she didn't fool the crew. She's just working. Remember when Chillie crashed a scooter at the No Name Bar? Yeah, I remember that really well. And Elizabeth remembers that really well too. Yeah, that was a challenge. And admittedly, on some of these river ships, I can see why they don't want solo handicapped travelers. I can get by with it, and most of my friends in the accessible community that are permanently attached to chairs, I travel with somebody. They're not like me and do both solo and have accessibility issues. Maybe he can upgrade to a roll cage for safety's sake. Scooter round, let me see. Do I need to call them? Scooter round, could you put a roll cage on my scooter? Need that for getting off at a bar. Because I'll be getting off at bars in St. Thomas. And no, I'm not going to St. Thomas. I'm going to Tortola this time. Oh, there's good bars in Tortola. I'll need a roll cage. Yeah. All right. I asked Scooter around for that, Jason. Hot Air said Chillie and Cindy can race their vehicles on the running. That's cool. We can get up on the jogging track, and Cindy and I can race and run all those damn joggers off. How about that? Be absolute maniacs. I like it. Yeah. No go-karts on the sky. That we're gonna make up for that. Cindy and I will be worse than go-kart people, running people off the track. Maybe we need to hang signs. Do not jog or walk from, because Chillie and Cindy are going to be up here making total fools of themselves. I like it. You and me, Cindy. Katie's with us. Hi, Katie. Getting to act a little silly this morning, Katie. If the flight is on time, we are doing Tampa at 11 p.m., then 2-hour trip. And then you're going to be in Port Canaveral. And then you got to get to Miami. So, I don't know. You've got all that laid out. Hot air time. I just can't go for 2 weeks before a cruise. Well, it's not quite 2 weeks, but 10, 20. Yeah, it is too. It's 11 days before a cruise that you're going to Florida. I don't have that luxury, unfortunately. Katie says you fly out tomorrow. No, he flies out tonight. Excuse me. Hot Air says just poor planning, Sonny. Wanted to try out Breeze, and they only have flights at that time to Tampa. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Breeze. I've forgotten that. You're on Breeze Airlines. Afternoon nap might be good. Yes, that's true. Can't wait to hear how Breeze is. Let us know. Yeah, Hot Air. We want a good report on Breeze. Not necessarily a good report. We want a well thought out report on Breeze, good or bad. Let me clarify that. So, Hot Air, he was referring to the tropical storm getting in our way. Yeah, well, we got 11 days. It's not likely to develop. It's still an outside possibility. 11 days, yeah, it might be. Yeah, 11 days. It would probably, if it's going to develop into something, would hopefully be done by then. But still, I'm going to start watching it every day. Chillie can use our balconies and not worth the upgrade on this cruise. Thanks, Hot Air. I appreciate it. You guys might be, rue the day that you talk me into going on a cruise with you. It could be a royal pain in the butt for you. I guarantee that. Katie says, keep in touch. We can meet up when you are here. Jason says it would be hilarious if you guys actually did that. Jason, I'm telling you, if we can get Hot Air to film it, I'm game. I am up for that. Cindy's liable to put she tends to actually control Hot Air some. Although Hot Air gets by with a lot of crap that Cindy lets him do. I think it's Cindy letting him do it too. That's my feelings. Anyway, I'm looking forward to talking to Cindy. Cindy and Chillie. Point system for knocking folks off the back. See who gets the most points. Yeah, we could come up with some rules and regulations. It'd be a perfectly good contest. I like it. We drive to Miami August the 9th, stay 2 nights at the Intercontinental. Just hope the kidney stone behaves. Yeah, me too, Hot Air. I hope that the Breeze airline flight of the plane is comfortable. It'd be horrible if that's old, crappy, old, thin seats that you feel like you're bouncing off metal. Trip is in a new Airbus 220. We're first class. The cost to upgrade is less than paying for bags in economy. We get 2 checked bags each. Wow. So that's a decent plane, a new plane too. Cindy says, nope, that is not going to happen. She can't wait to meet you. Thank you, Cindy. Well, I will negotiate, Cindy, when we get on board the Sky. We'll negotiate about racing on the jogging track. So we'll talk about it when I get there. I'll try to sweet talk you. We'll send Tom out to get mixers or something, and I'll sweet talk you into doing the race. How's that? I am so looking forward to this. Meaning she won't regret having you visit. Well, we'll see about that. Anyway, all right, that's going to wrap me up today. I've enjoyed the show today, folks. I really have. This has been fun. So hopefully some of you folks are new. You know, I have just been totally amazed at what the New York Times being on the daily has done for my channel. I mean, I'm growing at like 3% per day still. I mean, yeah, I had the big jump the first day. I understand that. But I'm growing at like 3% per day. And that's terrific. That's better than I've ever done in the, 10 years I've been messing with this now, 8 years, how long it's been. So, yeah, that was nice. The numbers still keep going up. My views are up across the board. My views are up close to 50%. So, yeah, that's just terrific. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. As always, folks, if you're new to this channel, we appreciate the thumbs up. That helps me out a lot. If you have not subscribed, let me invite you to do so. It costs nothing. Hit the bell notification. You'll be notified when I go live or when a new video is up. And as I go on a couple cruises here the next 30 days, you're going to see lots of live stream over and above what we do here on this show, at least 5 days a week and sometimes more with travel and cruise industry news. So anyway, by the way, Wendy just popped in. Hi, Wendy. She found me on the New York Times. Wendy, glad you're with us. Big cruise fan as well. Glad to have you with us. We hope to see you back here again sometime, Wendy. Terrific having you guys all on board. Again, if you haven't subscribed, think about doing so. That helps me out a lot. I'll see everybody back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Thursday Travel and Cruise Industry News. For now, this is the old fat travel guy. Think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all meet on the high seas. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you guys tomorrow. Later, y'all.